Let's say it as it is. No sugarcoating, no filters. There's a hidden, silent reason why you feel drained, like life is squeezing the energy out of you. And it's not what you think. It's not your to-do list. It's not the pressure from work. It's not even family problems. It goes deeper. It's your constant availability. Think about it. You're always reachable, always replying, always picking up, always showing up. You've been conditioned to believe that being constantly available makes you loved, respected, and valued. But here's the truth. It's a trap, a silent parasite, an invisible chain that ties you to emotional exhaustion. Being always accessible doesn't make you strong. It makes you a slave. The more available you are, the less you're valued. It's a psychological law. What's abundant is ignored. What's always within reach loses its magic. Here's the brutal paradox. The more you try to be accepted, the more you become invisible. The more you give, the less they notice. The more time you offer, the less they respect you. Let me ask you something uncomfortable. How many times have you given your all and still felt empty? How often have you kept a relationship alive by effort alone? They weren't there for you. They were there for your availability. And the moment you pull back, even a little, you'll see who truly values you and who only valued your presence. On demand. This is the truth nobody wants to face. Respect is born in distance. Peace comes from boundaries. It's not about isolation. It's about protecting your energy. People respect those who respect their time. They admire those who say no without guilt, those who aren't afraid to disappoint. Human psychology is built on a paradox. We crave what we can't have. The unreachable fascinates us, pulls us in like a magnet we can't resist. When you become someone who's not always within reach, who puts inner peace above external validation, your presence becomes magnetic. Your silence speaks louder than words. Your absence is felt more than any forced presence. And here's the truth that shatters every excuse. Your constant need for approval is your greatest weakness. As long as you're hungry for validation, you're a prisoner of emotion. Every ignored message, every look of indifference, every unanswered call feels like a silent punch. But the moment you realize your worth doesn't depend on them, everything changes. True strength is found in being alone without feeling lonely, in being your own source of validation, in finding richness in silence, not as emptiness, but as presence. Those who master silence, master relationships. Those who aren't afraid of solitude become invincible when surrounded by others. Remember this, overexposure drains you. Overaccessibility dilutes your essence. Being available to everyone means being absent from yourself. Every yes you give to others is a silent no to yourself. And when you live on autopilot, always pleasing, always showing up, you burn out. You slowly fade. You become a shadow of who you could have been. But freedom begins the moment you realize this. You don't owe anyone an instant reply. You don't have to explain every silence. You don't need permission to protect your peace, because that peace you're chasing, it won't come from their approval. It comes from self-respect. Look at the people you admire most. They're not the ones running around trying to please everyone. They're the ones who stand tall in their boundaries, who aren't afraid to disappoint, who know that real respect comes from authenticity, not compliance. Being selective with your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. You cannot build a full life when you're surrounded by people who only show up to take. Pay attention. Learn to spot the emotional drainers, the ones who vanish the moment you have nothing left to give. Don't be afraid to close doors, because closed doors create space for the ones that truly matter. Deep connections need room to grow. They need fertile ground. And that only happens when you stop watering toxic relationships. You are not obligated to maintain bonds that drain you. You owe no one an explanation for protecting your peace. Self-control is your hidden superpower. The ability to pause before reacting, to reflect before responding, to choose your battles with intention. Most people are slaves to their impulses. They react without thinking. They speak without filtering. But not you. You can choose silence when the world screams. You can choose calm when chaos surrounds you. In deep psychology, this is called internal sovereignty. It's the power to govern yourself, even when storms rage outside. When you master this, the outside world loses its grip on you. The opinions of others become distant echoes. Social pressure? It fades like mist under the sun of your clarity. Give yourself permission to disappear. To go quiet, to pull back. Don't explain your absence, don't justify your silence. Mystery is a powerful ally. People fear what they don't understand. They respect what they can't predict. So don't give them all the answers. Let them wonder. Let them imagine. In that space of uncertainty, true respect is born. Influence isn't about being loud. It's about controlling access to your energy. You don't have to be everywhere. You don't have to reply to every message, attend every event, join every conversation. In fact, the more selective you are, the more powerful your presence becomes. Let silence be your secret language. Let your absence speak your values. Let your actions speak when words fall short. The energy you protect today is the strength you'll need tomorrow to build your legacy. Social pressure is an illusion. It's a game powered by fear. Fear of being left out, of being forgotten. But once you break free from that illusion, you become magnetic. People are drawn to those who walk alone, because deep down everyone craves that freedom, but few dare to claim it. So today, I'm asking you to do something radical. Take a step back. Observe the noise from a distance. Protect your peace like a strategist guarding their next move. Don't give your energy to everyone who knocks. Choose wisely who deserves your time, your space, that is your essence. Because real success isn't being remembered by everyone. It's being remembered by those who matter. It's not about filling your calendar. It's about filling your life with purpose, quality over quantity, always. Respect isn't begged for. It's earned through integrity. You are not a 24-hour service line. You are not the emotional lifeline for everyone who's drowning. You are here to build yourself, to guard your peace, because your peace is your greatest treasure. Because at the end of the day, the only approval that truly matters is the one you give yourself. Walk through life with that certainty. Your energy is limited. Your time is finite. Your peace is sacred. Protect them, like a guardian defending the last fortress, because in that protection lies your freedom, and in that freedom, your strength. Now let me ask you, are you willing to pay the price for your peace, or will you keep mortgaging your soul for the approval of a world that's never satisfied? The choice, like always, is yours. And now I want you to pay close attention, because we're about to go deeper into something most people never understand, but it's completely connected to everything we've talked about. We spoke about boundaries, about peace. Now we talk about something else, the quality of your solitude. Not solitude as punishment, not as the cost of pushing others away, but as a sacred tool, a silent workshop, where the best version of you is forged, far from the noise of the world. Most people fear being alone, because in solitude, the voices they've been running from get louder. They drown themselves in distractions, in busyness, noise, endless validation. Not because those things are essential, but because they're terrified of the one conversation they've been avoiding, the one they have with themselves. Overaccessibility doesn't just apply to others. It's also the way we escape our inner. You've been so available to everyone else that you've become unavailable to yourself. Here's the brutal irony. Only when you embrace solitude do you stop feeling lonely, because true loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of connection with yourself. And this is where many fall apart. They don't know who they are without someone else's reflection. Their identity is built around how others see them, how they're accepted, how they're praised. But when those strings are cut, when you're left alone with nothing but your thoughts, That's when you discover something essential. If you can't stand your own company, why should anyone else? Here's the truth. The most magnetic people, the ones who radiate quiet strength, aren't loud, aren't desperate. They've mastered silence. They've found peace in solitude. They've turned being alone into a sanctuary, not a prison. They don't chase validation because they've already validated themselves. They don't need constant company because they've found harmony within. Here's one of the most powerful keys on this entire path. When you make yourself strategically inaccessible to others, you gain full access to yourself. You trade empty conversations for deep reflection. You trade fleeting validation for real self-awareness, and you become unshakable. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. You've become unbreakable. But it doesn't stop there. There's something else, something no one ever tells you. Your silence becomes a filter. Without saying a word, people start revealing who they really are. Those who came for convenience fade away. Those who value your essence stay. It's brutal. It's poetic. Your absence reveals more truth than your presence ever could. Do you realize what that means? You stop wasting time. You stop pouring energy into dead-end connections. Because now, you're not the one chasing. The world starts seeking you, not because you begged for attention, but because your energy has become rare, and in rarity, there is power. Now let's go even deeper, beyond solitude, beyond boundaries. There's a psychological principle almost no one uses, the anticipation of value. When people can't instantly access you, they start imagining your worth. And here's the twist, that imagined worth often becomes greater than reality. Waiting feeds the mind. Anticipation builds mystery, and mystery commands respect. What's scarce is desired. What's reserved is revered. This isn't hype, it's psychology. Think about anything you deeply value. Chances are it wasn't easy to get. It took time, effort, patience, and once you got it, you cherished it more. Now apply that to yourself. When you protect your time, when you choose where to place your energy with intention, when you stop being constantly available, you elevate your value, not just in the eyes of others, but in your own. And now comes the hard part, the part most people avoid. You have to learn to enjoy the art of waiting, not just making others wait for you, but learning to savor your own delays, delaying rewards, delaying distractions, delaying the need to constantly chase, because the one who chases everything that shines misses what truly illuminates. The one who is patient isn't just strong, they're strategic, because they know the best things in life don't come to the fastest. They come to the one who's ready at the right moment. Patience combined with selectivity is pure power. It's not about closing every door. It's about choosing the ones worth opening, the ones that lead somewhere real. And this one mindset shift, it will transform how you relate to the world. You stop being reactive, bending to every demand. You become proactive, moving at your pace. That is emotional autonomy. It's not about not needing anyone. It's about not depending on anyone. That's the difference. Yes, relationships matter. Connection matters. But the ones that truly elevate you are born from freedom, not need. And freedom comes from having the courage to let go of the shallow so you can go deeper in your life. Now I want you to ask yourself something, and I mean this with brutal honesty. How many of the relationships in your life right now exist only because you're always available? How many people would still show up if you stopped replying instantly? If you started prioritizing your time, your space, your energy? The answer might make you uncomfortable, and that's a good thing, because discomfort is the doorway to real change. Pulling back, creating distance, setting boundaries. That doesn't make you cold, it makes you aware. It allows you to redirect your energy toward the people, the projects, and the life that actually deserves you because your energy, it's limited. And wasting it is a luxury you can't afford. Not if you want to build a life that's authentic, a life that's full, a life that's free. So here's my challenge to you. Start removing your pieces from the board. Strategically, silently. Let people feel your absence. Let the world notice the void you leave behind when you choose to put yourself first, because only then will you understand a powerful truth. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is full of answers, and once you embrace that, once it sinks into your bones and guides your choices, everything changes. You'll realize this. You don't need to be everywhere to be unforgettable. You don't need to always show up to be deeply respected, because in the end, true presence isn't measured by quantity. It's measured by quality. So now I'll ask you, are you ready to turn your silence into your greatest strength? Are you ready to let your absence speak louder than your presence ever could? Because once you cross that line, once you reclaim your energy, your time, your peace, you'll never look back. And the world, it won't look at you the same either. But hold on, don't stop now, because there's one more truth you need to understand. If you really want to master this invisible game, it's this: the relationship between your energy and your identity. Most people never realize it, but it's the difference between being swept away by life or mastering it from the shore. Because every time you give your energy away without direction, you're not just exhausting yourself, you're diluting your identity. You're weakening the perception others have of you, because what you project to the world isn't just what you say. It's not just what you do. It's the quality of your energy. It's the intention behind it. Think about anyone you consider magnetic, anyone who commands a room, who makes people listen when they speak. It's not because they talk all the time. It's not because they're constantly in the spotlight. It's because when they do show up, their energy is focused, clear, powerful. Do you know why their energy feels magnetic? Because they protect it. Because they treat it like the non-renewable resource it truly is. Most people live like their energy is infinite, like they can give and give without cost. But that's a lie. Your energy gets wasted in meaningless conversations, in overthinking that goes nowhere, in connections that give you nothing but a fleeting emotional placebo. And that brings us to something most people never even consider: emotional economy. No one teaches you this, but your energy is a currency. And like any economy, if you spend recklessly, you go bankrupt. You start to feel heavy, exhausted, overwhelmed by the smallest demand, not because you're weak, but because you've been funding deficit relationships for years, giving attention that doesn't return value, chasing validation that disappears the moment you get it. And the world we live in, it's a silent energy thief. Social media, endless notifications, the addiction to immediacy, to being needed, to feeling seen. You become a free energy provider for systems that never give back. It's like having a public bank account for your soul, and anyone can walk in, make a withdrawal without even asking. And every tiny withdrawal, every scroll, every forced conversation, every guilt-induced yes, it pulls you further away from your center. That's why the people who seem effortlessly powerful, those who preserve their mystery, who manage their time like gold, they shine, not because they do more, but because they do less, with intention. They don't crawl for attention. They don't dissolve into the noise of overexposure. And now we need to talk about something even more dangerous: self-exploitation disguised as productivity. This is psychological dynamite. We've been tricked into thinking that staying busy means we're moving forward, that filling every second means we're growing. But here's the truth: most people aren't working toward freedom. They're running in circles inside a cage of social expectation. They've confused motion with meaning. They fill every void with noise, not to grow, but to avoid the one thing they fear most: themselves. Listen closely. Being busy is not the same as being in motion. And motion is not the same as progress. This is why you must become selective, not just with people, but with the thoughts you entertain, the activities you accept, the goals you chase. Think of this like a silent purge. Start removing anything that drains you. People, tasks, habits, expectations, distractions, all of it, because your focus is your most precious asset. And where you place that focus, that's where your entire life will grow. This isn't about building a life devoid of pleasure or excitement. It's about building a life that's full of meaning, a life filled with relationships that nourish, projects that ignite your spirit, moments that don't need to be posted, to be powerful. Life rich in silence, because that silence says more than 1,000 empty conversations ever could. Now let's go even deeper. Let's talk about something most people never even realize exists: narrative autonomy. This right here is a turning point. It's the moment you stop living inside a story written by someone else. Because every time you say yes out of guilt, every time you hand over your time without questioning it, you're not in control. You're a supporting character in someone else's movie. But when you reclaim your energy, when you protect your time like it's sacred, you don't just change your schedule. You take back the pen. You become the author of your story. And let me tell you, there is no power greater than that. When you control your narrative, suddenly the world has less grip on you. You stop reacting to the noise and you start moving with intention. No more living to please. No more defining your worth through other people's lenses. You shift from external approval to internal coherence. And that shift, it births a kind of peace you can't explain, only feel. It's the peace of knowing I'm building my life my way on my terms. And once you taste that peace, no applause will ever matter more. No recognition will ever replace the freedom of being true to yourself. So hear this clearly. Your real path doesn't begin when everyone claps. It doesn't begin when everyone follows you. It begins the moment you decide to walk alone. Not because you're lonely, but because you've outgrown dependence, because you've discovered that true companionship starts within. That's when silence becomes your ally, patience, your strategy, and selectivity, your shield. Because in the end, the real revolution is not external, it's internal. It's that sacred moment where you stop living for validation and start living for truth. And just when you think you've grasped it all, the final piece of this invisible game reveals itself. The art of strategic scarcity. Yes, scarcity. Everything rare becomes valuable. But here's the difference. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about becoming so whole within yourself that you naturally become selective. It's about your time being rare because it's genuinely reserved for what truly matters. Authentic scarcity can't be faked, and people feel it instantly. They know you're not performing, you're aligned, and that alignment, that quiet, unshakable certainty, is magnetic beyond words. Because in the end, true influence isn't something you chase, it's something that emerges naturally, inevitably. As the byproduct of radical authenticity, let me give it to you raw. Think of the greatest thinkers, silent leaders, creators, who revolutionized the world. None of them were screaming for attention. None of them had their agenda wide open. Their time was limited. Their appearances, rare. But when they showed up, they left a mark that could never be erased, not because they shouted louder, but because when they spoke, they had something real to say. Here's the final piece of the puzzle. Your value isn't measured by how often you appear. It's measured by the impact you leave when you do. People get used to what's abundant. Overexposure dulls your edge. But the right amount of mystery, the right dose of distance, it etches your presence into memory. Like the echo of a powerful phrase, you don't need to repeat it 1,000 times for it to resonate forever. So now, I want you to reflect on something you've probably never asked yourself before. If you disappeared today, completely, what echo would you leave behind? Would you be remembered for the noise you made or the depth of your presence? That answer defines more than your influence. It defines your entire legacy. So if something in this video stirred something in you, if it echoed like a silent thunder in your soul, don't just sit with it, act, set boundaries. Protect your energy like the sacred resource it is. Remove your pieces from the noise board. And start playing your own game. And if you've made it this far, I know it's because there's a spark inside you that refuses to go out. So I want to ask you one thing. Drop this phrase in the comments. My silence will be my power. Let it be our secret code. A silent signature between those of us who are no longer part of the mass that dissolves into noise, but part of the few who've decided to reclaim control. And yeah, subscribe. Not for vanity, but so you don't miss the next piece of this puzzle we're building together. Because we're not here to entertain the noise. We're here to build silences that echo for years. Now, before you go, I'm not saying goodbye. Leaving you with one last question. Let it linger, let it sting, let it rearrange you. If tomorrow, the world completely forgot about you, would you still walk with the same fire? Let that question mature inside you. Let it sit. Don't answer. It out loud, keep it, as a secret, as a silent weapon. Because remember, the most lethal weapon isn't the one you flash, it's the one you keep hidden. Until the moment is right. See you in the next video. Or maybe you won't see me, but you'll feel my echo. Because true impact doesn't vanish in absence, it multiplies.